Okay, well, hi there and welcome. My name is Jimmy Monahan. I am with LYSN, Love Yourself Now, and I'm bringing you this lesson and course about finding the best meditation that works for you. This will be a 4-week deliverable course that this covers week 1. So this will be the first week. So I thank you for signing up. Thank you for joining me. I hope this will help you. The focus is I want to kind of get into what this is about. Obviously, over the next 3 weeks after this one, you'll get a new section of the lesson each week. And then I typically do host a live coaching program that really digs deeper into this area. Also, I will be doing a 21-day challenge for this to really help people that want to create a habit and find one that works best for them. So the goals for this course, I want to kind of review that real quick. So, I want to understand, what is the best form of meditation that resides within you now. I can tell you, I started my first meditation experience was about 7, 8 years ago when I did go to see a therapist, and she had me kind of sitting in a chair, really wanting me to have my, my arms down on a chair, kind of leaning my head back, closing my eyes, taking my toes and like pushing into the ground, then trying to purposely feel different parts of my body, legs, hands, head, all that. And I can tell you at the time, I was so not in the place for it. I really had a point of view on meditation that was, I really didn't get what the point was. And I had a hard time sitting still, especially back then. I wanted no part of it. And she tried to teach me, and I tried to do it, but it never stuck. It didn't really resonate with me. So when I actually did find a meditation that worked for me, and that was one of the byproducts of, if you've seen my introduction video, I kind of go into shame and how, I shut off, my spiritual side for a while, and had to learn best practices and things to help me get through shame and deep-rooted emotions that I was stuffing and not letting out. The only thing I ever really let out was anger. And meditation, I can tell you, when I finally found something that worked for me, has been a game changer. It has been amazing. So I want you to become aware of what resonates with you and why. It was very important for me to figure that out, to develop a meditation practice that you can turn into a habit because it works for you. So obviously the gist of that is, if you get a meditation practice that just really resonates with you, it is going to be that much more easier to make a habit around it, instead of trying to do something like I did at first that just wasn't, I didn't want to. So also to construct that deep dive into relaxation that easily handles that wandering mind. So meditation does progress. What I started with when I was really getting into it, and how I meditate now, because I incorporate crystals into my meditation practice, music of a certain hertz. I have very specific ways that I go about it twice a day. It didn't start off like that a few years ago. So it does develop. And this course is designed to give you different exposures to different types of meditation, so you can see what will work for you now, and then maybe things that you can incorporate to keep it progressing and to feel good, to become more mindful of what you need to reach your high performance goals. So goals that you have in regard to your emotional, your physical, spiritual, mental well-being across the board, those goals is obviously what meditation can help with. Obviously, there's barriers to meditation. I just described a few of them, myself. So my own assumptions I made, I didn't get it. I thought it was, a bunch of bald guys, sitting around, twisted up like a pretzel, and, sitting there and chanting something that I didn't know what was going on, and having a lot of incense being shot up, your nose. And that was really my first impression of meditation. I didn't get it, and I pretty much was at that mental state of I didn't want to get it. I wasn't open-minded then. When I finally became open-minded is where it changed. So some of the assumptions we make, like I said, that you need to become a super monk and meditate forever, that it's super serious, that you have to, get all the thoughts out of your head, that you have to have a blank mind. You can make you can make your mind blank just as well as I could tell my heart to stop beating. The mind's going to do what the mind does. It's understanding how to work through that. Obviously, always thought when I first started, oh, I must be doing it wrong. I'm not doing the right meditation. I'm not following it exactly the way they're telling me to. So somehow I can't do it right. I'm not going to get it right. And I might as well give up. So don't let Mr. Shame voice get in there, because it's very easy. It did for me. Why do I need this? I don't need this. This has nothing to teach me. I'm not going to, this is a waste of my time. I don't have time for this, and I'm kind of jumping right into the excuses, but it's also a misconception that people think this is a religious practice, that it's about some form of religion, and it's not. Spirituality and religion, I feel, is very distinctively different. However, can they intersect? Absolutely. But I do feel spirituality is that deep inner dive where you're really working through your aspects of your emotional, your mental, and physical well-being, from that overall persona perspective, how you are, your presence, what you believe in, what your religion is. To me, that's separate from all of that. And that's why meditation, I feel, works greatly when we get past that barrier. Excuses we make, okay, the first and foremost, I just don't have enough time. Easier said than done. Brandon Bouchard mentions that's a line that hears often and drives him insane. And I have to agree that I've used it. I've said not enough time, and obviously that line of easier said than done. We just like to make excuses. I've done it. It happens. I can't just sit still. I said that was one of my first hangups. I've heard people say, they need their stress and pain to make them who they are. It's what drives them. It's what, makes them, live. But does it make you happy? Does it really solve anything? That's a personal case basis. I tried everything. So I thought with the one thing that I use this as my excuse myself. When I was, sitting with the therapist, I remember talking to somebody after I stopped, and I used those words. Oh, I tried everything. I tried everything with meditation. I tried to figure it out. I just didn't. And it was basically, 2 sessions that I tried it, and maybe twice at home on my own. That is not trying everything. There's a lot to meditation itself. The distractions we allow. So obviously, phone, social media. I know a lot of people are wired to wake up these days and go right to the phone and swipe through and check emails and check messages. And, we start our day poorly. Do we even eat breakfast? Do we even, really take a moment to appreciate the day? We're already, mentally out the door at the job, and we just basically put our feet on the floor from the bed. That obviously are, compiles to distractions, idle conversations. I know this happens at work. This can happen at home sometimes, where you're just shooting shit. You're just talking about little to nothing other than maybe a time killer. That whole, do I have enough time thing? Could you have gotten 15 minutes out of your day, even at work, just to meditate and reset? But you could. Negative thoughts and perfection are other distractions. When we listen to that shame voice inside, oh, this isn't for me. I'm not good enough for this stuff. Worrying about I got to do it just right, or it's not going to work. And you've already made the decision before you try it. And lack of planning. And that comes down to scheduling your time, making the time. If it means you go to bed a little early, or wake up a little bit earlier, whatever you got to do to shift a few things. I bet you, if you really analyzed your day, you could find a lot of time to free up. So how do we overcome those barriers? So awareness. That was one of the things I just talked about. What do you currently do? Notebooks. I love notebooks. Now, people, talk about journaling, and I love the aspect of journaling. I don't necessarily like the journal pricing. If you've gone through journals and looked them up on Amazon or wherever you go to Staples or whatever, and you can see these nice fancy journals, and if that's what you can afford and what you want, be my guest. But a simple notebook from a dollar store, for a matter of a couple dollars, where you can get even more pages to write and it's cheaper, well, that's what I do. It's just up to you how much money you want to spend, but journaling, writing things down, and looking at how you spend your time, you know, taking a scheduler and planning your day, looking at each hour, each half hour, when you do your emails, when you look at different things, when you schedule meetings, when you have time. Obviously, hopefully, you have meals, lunch, hopefully appropriate snacks. I've had to introduce that into my life. So, obviously, 76 pounds down from where I was, still going. And I've had to incorporate, that healthy living into my planning along with my meditation. And that journaling and that writing experience really makes me look at day to day that where I can do it, how I can do it. And that's when you start establishing habits once you make that daily. So planning and schedule, refine your daily schedule, set aside 2 separate 15 minutes blocks per day. First, right after bed and bathroom, you can have your coffee after. I recommend if you do this, and I'm a avid coffee drinker. I can tell you that if you're trying to meditate, after you have your first coffee, I found it a little bit more challenging than doing it right before. The next good interval, and it varies for you. I don't personally see the benefit right before bed, but you could try it right before bed if it helps you sleep better. I usually do it between 2 to 7. Um, like after work before dinner, I find it like a good reset, especially after work. Uh, Obviously, I like to switch it up now and then with yoga. I find that a meditative practice I can talk about as one of the options. You need to create a safe place to meditate too. You need a nice room that feels good, not so cluttered. Get the phones out of there, turn off the social media tab, inform and get support. Let those people know in your house you live with somebody to know that this is when you want undisturbed time. And it's okay to do that. It's perfectly acceptable to state, hey, I want to do some meditation. I want to try this. I just want to make sure that I'm not disturbed, that if somebody calls, I'll call them back. This is a time period I don't want to get into a conversation and I need this to happen. I'm sure the person you're with is going to accept that, so hopefully you can get that support. And then ultimately this comes down to a decision that you're going to do it, that you're going to see it through, that you're going to commit to the process and then stick to it. Create your physical safe place. So, are you comfortable and clean, distraction free, minimal technology, reduce the clutter? If you got crap all over the desktop, I go through this on a daily basis where I see, things start to pile up. If I leave a crystal behind, if I, leave a notebook over here and I don't put it away, I definitely need to get that cleaned up for my meditation time, my little room. If you have a bigger room, even better. If you have a studio thing, then God bless you. Great. But you have to find some place that you can feel safe in, knowing that you can get the time you need. Technology free as best as possible, unless music or something along those lines is good for you. I find incense, aromatherapy, or an air freshener even, or any pleasant, soothing sense in your area to help calm the area. I find it soothing. If it's not you, then don't. But can add to a calming sense in that room, making it more inviting. Comfortable clothing. I do this before I get dressed for work. I don't want to feel like I'm in work mode when I'm trying to meditate. I want to feel like I'm in meditation mode and being comfortable temperature. That's also very important. Comfortable chair. If you need a sweater, you put a sweater on. People can interrupt you. Let them know that you need that time. So with week 1, I do have a few things I want you to kind of work on. Yes, I know, work. I get it. You don't want to hear the W word, but everything that is very beneficial, that is helpful, does require some effort. It does require some work. And, there's times when it becomes a lot less work and it just becomes part of who you are. I still work at meditation a bit here and there, but I do feel on average day to day, I'm doing a meditation practice that really helps me. Where I'm focusing a little bit more on my own personal meditation walk is the second one. I don't have a consistent time. Excuse me. I don't have a consistent time yet with that second one, and I can find challenges every now and then, depending on the schedule and all that, and I have to stick to my schedule to get that second one in. But I definitely feel a difference if I only do it once versus twice a day, and I definitely feel an even more impactful sensation when I don't do it at all. I have thankfully not done it for a very long time, but when I was first starting out and was first getting in the groove, there was a few times where I missed, and I could really tell the difference. So the work here for week 1, and ideally you have it done by day 6 before you get the next email, is to journal one day, the next 3 days of how you spend your time, at least. You can do it every day. God bless you. Please try to do it every single day. But you really want to get used to journaling things out, getting your thoughts out of your head, putting it on paper. It is also a great way to review later. I look at back at my pages of my journal when I first started meditation, where I'm at now, and I go, wow, that's progress. That I've because sometimes it's easy because you're going through it daily not to really see the progress, not really know that you are progressing. And when you have it written down and you could look back and say, wow, I used to struggle with that. I don't anymore. That's awesome. You can see it right there in ink. Review where you can prioritize your time. So we want to get into that scheduling bit. Look at your normal day, when you wake up, what you do when you wake up, how you do it, the order of your day, and see if you can make some small changes to get a meditation time in there. Same thing with your afternoon, after work, evening as well. Obviously, I always will suggest 30 minutes earlier than you have going to bed, and 30 minutes earlier. It causes a shift where you're just taking a little less lounging time at night to give yourself 2 15-minute breaks to do meditation. Schedule your time in 2 sessions. Daily planners help. That's huge. That has helped me a lot in progressing, and I thank Brendan Bouchard for really getting me more into the habits of using planners and everything else. Find a spot at home and work where you can be relaxed. Work can be challenging for some people. I can do it at work fairly often. So if it's after you come home, that's great too. I often at least like to try and do a quick 5-minute reset at work, just to kind of close my eyes, smooth my breathing out, let the mind reset, and go back to work to something else. Your mind doesn't need those breaks, believe me. And I understand everybody's doing working lunches and working everything. You need to really, slow it down once in a while to be that much more productive. Post in the Facebook group how you did, questions, etc. Please, I welcome feedback. If there's something you want to know more about, if there's something, even a different topic you're thinking of, if there's feedback for me at all, I appreciate it. It only helps me grow. I want to be able to help you better during this process. Obviously, I'm going to grow more as I continue to do videos, lessons, talks, coaching, all of it. But coaching is something I've done for over 2 decades, something that I am comfortable, very much one-on-one. A little different doing it on a video, which I will get comfortable with. But ultimately, you got this. I want you to have a wonderful week, and just go for it. Just try it. Just the simple, planning stage, finding the time. And then when we get to the next email, we're really going to start, getting into, different types of meditation and what you can start with. But first steps is to really plan it out first, to organize yourself, to get your area right, to get your mind right, to get the commitment you need for yourself to follow this through, to get your tools together, to write, to start writing, to see where you can have that time and plan it out. That's basically what week 1 is all about. I do thank you. Again, I'm Jimmy Monahan with LYSN, Love Yourself Now, because you're definitely really worth it. I hope you allow yourself to do that. Thank you. Have a great day.